based on how the bishop decided to rearrange maneno akakukutana na Pretty Vishi, makes Bishop Kiengei the first preacher I know mwenye anaogopa kanisa yake ijae. Asante sana for joining us for another classic episode of the Weekend Edition. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori. Mazi, asante sana, another hot week, better late than never. So it's time for our weekly updates from our desk here. We all know that this week, the past week, our President William Ruto traveled to China to negotiate for a 40 billion shillings loan. Also, coincidentally, in the same week, the Controller of Budget releases a budget implementation report for the financial year 2023-2024. And guess what? State House, the government or the office of the president, spent 18.1 billion shillings on domestic travel. Mind you, our president is in China negotiating for a 40 billion loan, but in the financial year 2023-2024, the government used 18.1 billion shillings on domestic travel. So does it mean that the president in China kuendea hii 40 billion ameendea fare ya domestic travel for the next few months?
The report shows that in the year 2023-2024, the domestic travel cost 18.1 billion shillings, which was up from 14 billion shillings in the previous year, and that was a 29% rise. For the foreign travel, the cost increased by 45% to reach 9.2 billion shillings, up from 6.3 billion shillings. And of course, in total, that shows you that the government, national government in this case, spent 27.3 billion shillings against 20.4 billion shillings in the previous year. That is a 34% jump.
Sasa nimeelewa kwa nini Wakenya wako na pressure mingi hivyo, and there are two stories that actually I pick a lot of pressure from Kenyans. One, tourism CS Rebecca Miano anapiga picha innocent photos, and she posted on Twitter innocent photos posing with the KICC. One, akiwa na zile picha za ushago za kushikilia KICC hivi. I think that was inspired by Goliath. And then another innocent photo standing on top of KICC in Irene Okota. Unajua, there's an architect who came out akasema the design of KICC was inspired by the private part of a donkey. So the CS akapanda huko juu kabisa, alafu after amefika huko juu ya nini ya punda, aka caption on Twitter ati you have not visited Nairobi unless you've gotten to the top of. Wacha na hiyo story. Let me tell you about the other story. The other story that made me feel Kenyans' anger. Ni story ya Pretty Vishi na Bishop Kiengei. As in, the JCM Bishop Ben Kiengei landed in hot soup after a video of him body shaming the Pretty Vishi, who is the ex wa Steve Simple Boy, went viral. In the video, Bishop Kiengei is saying that Vishi is not pretty.
She's not appealing.
You corona Simple Boy.
Simple Boy do. Oka kuja niko yege. Niko bum. Niko sweeta.
Hell broke loose. But at least the bishop alicheza kadi zake fiti sana. He called Pretty Vishi, sat her down, offered his apology, and even hooked her up with several influencer gigs.
I am happy.
It's interesting that he did not get into more trouble for offering a woman a job based on her looks. And that's actually a thing. People getting jobs based on their looks. Na sio madem peke yake, we have a fake Ruga, we have a fake Jason Derulo, we have a fake Diamond, and they're making money. They're booking shows na wanalipisha professional fees. Kuna mtu kwanza unamlipa 150,000 kukam kuperform juu anafanana na msee mwingine. Alafu lookalike wa Jalas pia ndio huyo anasema yeye supportiwi juu yeye ni Mkamba.
Niliweza kuona mheshimiwa aliweza kurespond akasema nifanye chenye ningefanya kama tufanani na yeye, but for real nafanana na wewe. I think utaki kunisaidia kwa sababu mimi si Mjaluo, mimi ni Mkamba.
Huyu unaweza patana naongea hivi because the past two elections baba haja support Kalonzo despite pressure from circles zote za side zote za political divide. Anyway, that's besides the point. Hiyo story ya comments za Bishop Kiengei on how Pretty Vishi looks caused a lot of backlash on the bishop that people had vowed to go visit the church on Sunday and not in good faith. No pun intended. Now, based on how the bishop decided to rearrange maneno akakukutana na Pretty Vishi, makes Bishop Kiengei the first preacher I know mwenye anaogopa kanisa yake ijae. And now Pretty Vishi also insisted on meeting Kiengei kwa kanisa. First of all, yeye alileta hiyo movement ya tutakuja church yako on Sunday, lakini Bishop Kiengei akaamua kutane kwa hoteli, and that's how she was neutralized.
And to people who judge without wanting to know someone in person, you should know first, yeah?
Unajua story ya Pretty Vishi iko na double standards mob sana. It's like Kenyans want to monopolize hiyo kubody shame watu, because hizo vitu Bishop Kiengei amesema, we need to be ashamed of ourselves, because that's what most Kenyans have been telling Pretty Vishi. She actually has been very strong to rise above that. So watu immediately after Bishop Kiengei ali apologize, watu wakarudi system the same. So technically watu wana gatekeep kutusi Pretty Vishi ama kutukanana. Anyi pia tukweni serious. Anyway, moving on, the Nairobi University has also faced serious backlash over its work-study program proposal to pay students 50 shillings per hour to work wakistudy campo. Sounds like a good plan, but when you think about it, inakaa pesa kidogo sana. Students wanalipwa 50 shillings per hour. That's unfair. Kuna watu wengine wanalipwa more. Last I checked, as per records, inasemekana Governor Sakaja is still a student wa UON. How much does he earn per hour? I'm overthinking. Anyway, it's always it's not always hating because the university is probably preparing its students for the reality of the job market ya kulipwa peanuts. Imagine engineer ama daktari akigraduate na amezoea kulipwa 50 bob per hour. That makes the economy affordable. Maybe that's the thought. Moving on. Is it just me or our leaders, especially kwa hii administration, need to up their games on quotes? Like, umesikia quotes za Nelson Mandela, umesikia quotes za Abraham Lincoln. Hebu sikie ni ya Rigiji.
Hata kama mamako hako na macho moja na umeenda ugenini umepata msichana mrembo, you don't go to talk ill of your mother to please the mother of the girl you want to marry.
So now this was in response to Kimani Ichung'wah, who during the Nyanza tour ya El Presidente alikuwa throw jabs seemingly aimed at the truthful men.
Mimi niliwaambia nilipambana na Uhuru Kenyatta akiwa rais wa Kenya nikiwa tu mbunge wa kawaida. Wewe usijaribu kufikiria ati unaweza nitisha sababu uko na cheo inakaribia rais hapo. Mimi hakuna mtu anaweza nitisha hii Kenya na hii dunia. Niliwaambia naogopa Mwenyezi Mungu peke yake, uji moto na umeme peke yake.
So kitu si understand ni vile mambo inachemka hapa kwa the ruling coalition, because just the other day they seem to have a successful tour in Nyanza. In fact, that tour ndio ilinionyesha ilinipatia chance ya kuona enyewe Rigiji can really struggle to speak the same language with Raila Odinga.
Kisumu hoye! Kisumu jodhurwa ote! Jodhurwa umo!
Aya, in other news, Nation reports that IEBC owes 1 billion shillings to 11 law firms for cases including defending the 2022 general elections. You know what's funny about this story is the people who cost the taxpayer 1 billion shillings over their differences traveled to China pamoja last week. That is President William Ruto na Raila Odinga. Their differences in 2022 elections are costing the taxpayer 1 billion shillings. Wao walisha move on na life yao, they are brothers now, na hata wanatafutia na job. This is why I support the handshake between Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency William Ruto. They are cheaper together. That's all we had for you tonight on this episode.